Welcome into the Chasing Trails podcast, brought to you by St. John Trail Running and powered by Resilience Through Fitness. Join two middle-aged dads as they sit down and talk trail running, life, and everything in between. Now, here are your hosts, Geoff LeBlanc and Brandon Thompson.
All right, welcome in, everyone. It's another episode of the Chasing Trails podcast. Geoff and Brandon here with you. It's great to have you listening with us, and we're glad that you're tuning in wherever you are, YouTube or Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. Just thanks for taking the time to listen to us, and we appreciate you. Geoff, I don't know if you know this, but people have been really listening to what we're saying about like following and subscribing, because we've gained over a dozen followers on Spotify over the last 30 days.
Yes,
so that's been pretty great. So everyone, thank you for doing that, and keep it up. Like, and
we're almost
comment.
at 600 people on Instagram. So
yeah.
It's good.
Move over, Kardashians. Here we come, right?
Here we come.
We are on our way.
Yes,
but it's been really encouraging to see the response, and so thank you to all the listeners for doing that. We appreciate you. So let's check in. We've got a full episode today. We're going to get into a lot of things, but Geoff, let's start off by checking in. How are you making out, my man?
I'm good. I remembered to get all dressed up in my Resilience Through Fitness gear tonight and rep our boy Devin from RTF, and that's just because that's what I had on today. Actually, I didn't just luck at it, I guess. I wear this stuff all the time. It's actually good and comfortable, so I don't.
Yeah,
it's
great stuff.
Check in. Life's good, I guess. Man, it's been stressful this week. So, without boring everyone with my life events, but when we were on the island, we mentioned how one of my contractors got in touch with me about our septic and did some work, and how we had they did some digging and they got into some stone really fast, and they were concerned, so they came back and brought a big excavator and cleared a bunch of trees and did a bunch of digging. And we came back from the island a couple weeks ago, and that's where it stayed. There was no other communication. It was that, hey, we got through the bedrock. Life's good. We'll be in touch. And then my siding guys were 2 weeks late, but they did start. And it's been a bit slow because they think they bit off more jobs than they can chew, which I think is typical of a lot of siding and renovation folks. And so they've consistently had one guy here doing siding by himself, which I already know is not efficient because you're climbing the stage.
That's not ideal.
Definitely right? Not ideal. But he's a good worker. He's been working hard. And I was talking to him today, and he was like, yeah, I'd actually almost prefer to work alone than with the guy that's kind of useless that usually shows up every now and again for a couple hours and then leaves. I think he's happy to be on his own, but it is slowing the progress down.
Yeah.
But then on Monday, my bathroom renovation started on time, which I was kind of hoping they'd be late since the siding guys were late. And I was trying to organize everything so that, and I shouldn't be a project manager, but anyway, I was trying to organize things so that they wouldn't all be here at the same time. And so my bathroom guys showed up and started gutting my bathroom. And I informed them that the siding guys were still working, which they could see because it was all tore off the house and not finished yet. And they're like, that's okay. If it's one or two guys here, we won't be in each other's way too much. It's not so bad. We're in different locations, so it's not a big deal. I'd prefer to leave my 2 trailers in your driveway. You now have 2 cars, 2 trailers, and a third dump trailer. Hopefully nothing else shows up. But I was like, yeah, I think we're good, right? I was like, the only thing I've heard from my septic guys is they asked me to measure my stink pipe for the inspection. And so I got up on the roof last week and measured the stink pipe and sent them off the pictures. And I said, I haven't heard anything from them. He's like, okay, yeah, it shouldn't be that bad. Anyway, I got home Monday night to 2 excavators and little tiny, I don't know what you call it, but like a smaller excavator thing.
Like a little bobcat kind of thing?
A little bobcat. Yeah, that's right. A little bobcat sitting in my driveway and 2 more trailers. And I was like, oh, this is not good. So I texted my bathroom guy and I was like, hey, were you here when the excavators showed up? He's like, yeah, they showed up as I was leaving. He's like, I guess your septic's getting done this week. And so Tuesday morning, man, it was like absolute war zone in my yard. There was 2 siding guys going at the house. There was 4 guys inside gutting my bathroom, doing electrical, doing plumbing, putting in a new shower, doing all that, ripping my house to pieces. And then there was 2 guys outside with 2 excavators running, doing my septic field. And like I stopped into the house just before lunch, and it was there was people everywhere just buzzing about like a beehive. And I was like, oh, what are we doing? So my wife and 5 kids just like have been vacating the house every day because like there's no place for them. They just have to go like bum rooms at people's houses for the afternoon to go hang out. So they went to some friend's house today and went swimming for the afternoon after swimming lessons. Anyway, it's been kind of a crazy week. So then they found rot behind my chimney today.
Oh no.
So the siding guy texted me and he was like, hey, we got some rot behind your chimney. I think you're going to have to take your chimney down in order to fix it. It looks like it's a load-bearing wall to me, but I've never been in your attic, so I don't know. Luckily, my other contractor who's here doing the bathroom had been in my attic because they were fixing my vents that were done wrong. They vented my bathrooms with drain tile, so it literally had holes in the pipe. So we were just it was pretend vented to the outside, but everything was just going into my attic. Anyway, so he's like, so we had to get up there and fix that. He's like, so I already know you have trusses and it's on a gable end, so it's not load bearing. So if they're not comfortable fixing it, tell them to strip the wall and I'll fix it for you. It won't be hard to do. So I was like, oh, thank goodness. Like that was going to be a big job. So crisis averted there, and they got the septic basically in and connected. But like last night, they were still working at like 6:30, and we come home from work, and there was like no toiletries or water being able to be run because there was literally just a hole in the ground. So the pipe coming out, and I was like, So we went out for supper at the Big Stop with the kids, and like anyway, it's just been a crazy week, and I'm just really glad I'm not a general contractor who has to try to align all that stuff to build houses and stuff. Because like, I mean, maybe they would communicate a little better together, but and everyone's like getting along well and doing their job, and they all seem fine. I mean, they're going to get paid for their work, so I guess they're happy for that. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, we basically are homeless from 8:30 till 5 every day, and then we come home and it's like dusty and messy and whatever.
Yeah,
and you're just like, oh man, this is going to be quite the couple weeks that we're getting into here. But anyway, first world problems, right? Like, oh, poor Jeff, he's renovating his house, and other people are doing the work. He's not even doing it himself.
Right.
Yeah, so I know I sound like a complete crybaby, but with 5 kids and a wife who you promised that not everyone would be here at the same time, and then everyone was here at the same time, it's a little bit challenging. So
yeah. Well, it is an inconvenience for sure, and it must be impacting your training a little bit because I mean you have no real rhythm right now of life.
Yeah, in some ways, definitely is. I think that my training has been more impacted by my sore Achilles, but I went to see the physiotherapist today too. So
aren't physios wonderful? I think we should all give a big round of applause to all the physiotherapists who deal with knucklehead guys like us all the time.
Yeah, big dummies. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How'd yours go?
Problems. It went good. Actually, it turns out I have no big major problems with my Achilles, just Achilles tendinopathy, which is what we kind of had it boiled down to anyway through ChatGPT and talking with Adam and some different people. And his opinion is that complete rest would actually be bad at this point because we want to be a little bit rough on that. It's at the base or the insertion point of my tendon right at the heel, so it's unlikely to blow or rip or even do anything there other than be sore. It'll build up scar tissue and will eventually get better. And so his advice was to find a happy point where I can run good distances and more consistently. Like he would rather me run every day, 7 to 10 kilometers and not have pain for longer than an hour when I wake up in the morning because it'll be tight then, he said, and sore, or, after my run, no more than like an hour or 2 hours of pain. If I can't sleep at night because it hurts, obviously I overdid it. Mm-hmm. So to find a happy place where I have some pain, but not that it's like excruciating or debilitating. And so his example was if your like base level of comfort or tightness and pain in the Achilles right now is like a 2 out of 10, it shouldn't go any higher than a 5, right. And that should be a good happy spot. And it's just going to hurt for a while, but I'm probably not going to do any more damage. Well, and there's no damage done. Like to him, it's just a load thing and it'll get better. So there's a lump on the back of my heel that's scar tissue that's built up. And like you said, that's a healthy response to, some overwork in that section of my heel. And so not that it's a big deal, just that, I should consider just taking care of it and going from there. So, yeah, basically keep doing what I'm doing, but maybe instead of, if I have a really big run on Saturday, if it's going to sideline me for 2 days while I recover from a sore Achilles or whatever it is, tendinopathy, then don't do that. Just do some regular running and then go from there. So,
yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. It's good that it's nothing that's going to get worse. I was doing my training run, and family life has just been really throwing a curveball over this training block. Like, it's just been so tricky with kids events and special family events that you have over the summertime. And so we had a big family pool party on Saturday with Natalie's extended family in Fredericton. And so we were there for most of the day. So my Saturday run wasn't possible. And so I had to squeeze it into Sunday. Well, then we had some friends who showed up, unexpectedly. And so I needed to cook for them, and we were doing some barbecue. And so I had to squeeze in this run into like a couple of hours. And I was like, well, I should still be able to get a good chunk in, not realizing just how slow I am. And so I got through it. I'm running at a time. I'm looking at my watch and I'm like, oh my goodness, I only got 14K done. And I was like expecting to at least get into, the 20s. And so anyways, I'm kind of wrapping up the run, and I made like a little snack pouch for myself with Twizzlers and gummy nerds and Smarties. And so I've been picking out like I've been picking out the Twizzlers and the nerd clusters and eating those. But I had this big bag of Smarties, which was just like shaking like it was so loud every time I run. It was just, you could just hear it packing around in my bag. And so I finally was like, I got to get rid of these. They're driving me nuts. I was almost done. And I was like, I just want to get rid of them. I'm not going to eat them. And so I saw this couple with all these kids who were walking on the Irvine Nature Park Trail. And I was like, how weird would it be for me to stop as a stranger and give these kids these Smarties? Anyways, I tried it. I went for it. I was like, oh, wait, I'm not weird. I just have these extra Smarties.
It's a great way to start that.
That's right. I was like, I'm not trying to be weird. I was like, there's nothing wrong with these. I just didn't eat them. Would your kids like these Smarties? And I was like, I'm pretty sure they're not sweaty, but here you go. And so they're like, oh, okay. I don't know if they ever ate them or whatever, but it was like this weird encounter with them, but they took them. Wow. And hopefully the kids got some Smarties, but I was like, I just need to unload these things because they're driving me nuts. But it was definitely like the stranger giving out candy in the playground, in the park, kind of like
at weird scenario with me.
Yeah, their parents were there. So
I gotta be honest, if a stranger came up to me and offered us a random bag of Smarties that weren't boxed or anything like that, you would get the same treatment as the guys trying to kill the insects in your yard that are going door to door right now in Handwell. They keep coming back to my door the third time. And I open it and I go, you guys were here last week. I'm not interested. And I close my door. Like, you would have gotten the exact same response. Keep moving, buddy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, good for them for entertaining you.
Yeah, that's right. Whether or not I unloaded my Smarties, maybe the kids got some Smarties. We'll never know.
Squirrels in Irving Nature Park are eating your Smarties.
Yeah, probably. They probably just threw it in the trash as they walked by.
Absolutely.
But anyway, that was kind of part of it. But training has been going okay, and it's been a little bit less distance than what I like, but trying to just be consistent. So that's been pretty good.
That's good.
But we're getting there bit by bit. Anyway, so today, Geoff, what we're going to spend time talking about is something that I don't hear very many people talking about, but I'm pretty sure it's something that we all have experienced, right? There are times, like trail running, oftentimes the stories that get forecasted or shared or spread around on social media are these like great stories of amazing accomplishment, of, success and overcoming obstacles and pushing through and all that kind of stuff. But there is another side of the coin, right? There is another side where there is a time when we don't make the cutoff, when we DNF, or when we get sick and we fail and we don't accomplish the goals that we wanted to, and we get disappointed or discouraged, or we get a training block and all of a sudden we get injured and we can't practice or train the way we want to train. And And so we want to talk a little bit about dealing with disappointment, right? Because there are times when we all have to deal with disappointment when it comes to running. Mine was just recently at Rockwood Park. I had to deal with not accomplishing the goal that I wanted to get. And so I think it's important for us just to really spend some time just talking about that and giving that a little bit of shining a light on that a little bit. And you and I both have had our own experiences with dealing with disappointment. And so today we just want to spend a few minutes talking about why we feel disappointed, maybe some of the things that you shouldn't do when you're feeling discouraged and disappointed. And hopefully there's some takeaways that we can do that will help when we do feel discouraged, and recognizing that's just a part of our running journey as we go through it all. But maybe let's talk about, like, what are some of the things that discourage us when it comes to running. Geoff, do you have any that come to the top of your mind? What are some of the discouraging things that happen to you?
Yeah, I mean, like injuries, that you don't know until you get in to see someone. Like, I think about my Achilles problems and the pain. It's just so discouraging. Like, I had myself all psyched up for an awesome Saturday run, and I had my alarm set for 5:00 in the morning, and I was going to get out before before it got hot. I had all these expectations of myself. My ankle was feeling good because I hadn't run much during the week because I was busy doing other things, and it's like I forgot that it was there. Like, I had no recollection of the fact that it's going to hurt for the first kilometer, then it's going to feel fine for the rest of the run. But eventually it's going to get tired and affect the rest of your running dynamics while you're doing it, right? And so, yeah, those injuries that are there that just kind of nag or just pain generally that you, for some reason, believe you shouldn't be experiencing that no one else does. And then it just kind of ruins your whole outlook on your run, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, it's like slow progress when you're not making the progress that you want to make. I think for me, that discourages me quite a bit. I'll give you an example. I was running in Shady Grove a couple weekends ago, and I was zooming through the trails. I felt like I was going really well, and I felt like everything was going pretty good. And then I looked at my speed, and my pace was like 12 and a half kilometers per minute or whatever the rating is. And I was like, what is going on? I was like, this is like a walk. I was like, people walk faster than this. And I was like, I couldn't get over how slow my pace was. And I was like, dang it, what is going on? And my heart rate was like pretty high. It wasn't quite threshold, but it was still pretty high. And I was like, my heart should not be pumping this fast for the speed in which I am going. And so I find oftentimes that is just so discouraging when you're like, man, what's going on? And then I stepped on the scale. I sent this to you, and I was like, I weigh the most I've ever weighed. And I was like, oh, that's why I'm going slow. I was like, that all starts to make sense. It's because I like candy too much. And so maybe a few less Smarties and Twizzlers on my runs, and maybe a few more better choices. But anyway, so we're not here to talk about my eating habits.
Isn't that the story of our lives? Better choices, like
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just funny though. I've noticed this week, and we've talked about this with Adam and on the show before about the why, and I've started thinking about it not just in running, but about like, why do I do certain things that I know are stupid, but I just keep doing them, right? Like, why is that? Anyway, I realized this week, part of the week, my stress response in life is definitely to eat and to spend money. Those are my two stress responses.
Those are two really bad ones,
right? If I'm stressed out at work, or if I'm stressed out like with all this stuff, renovations happening and stuff, I've noticed that like my cares about my spending and or my what I eat just go out the window. It's all about comfort and relaxation. So like, as an example, I've been to Kingswood to golf 18 holes of golf, which is fairly expensive, and food afterward twice in the last 4 days. Like, just because there's no
avoiding the house,
right? Avoiding the house. We went out for supper the other night. There was no like tell the kids not to upgrade everything on their plate, and you got 5 kids out there eating 7 people. It's not cheap. And I just eat all the time. I constantly have food in my mouth, and it's just that stress response to just feel better, right?
Yeah.
And I need to switch that somehow to just be like, when you want to eat because you're stressed, just go for another run. You can just go for another one, a short one, doesn't matter what it is. Just go do that instead of eating 4 handfuls of chocolate chips and then being like, oh geez, I just ate 4 handfuls of chocolate
just
chips.
Raw chocolate chips, eh? That's your go-to.
Just raw dog and chocolate chips. Yeah. I'll just walk by the counter up into the thing, and I'll just grab a handful of chocolate chips, and a tablespoon. I don't know how many calories, but and then just chew them down and think it's just a couple chocolate chips, but it's a whole handful.
Little sugar hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely notice that too when I'm stressed. Chocolate gets way higher up on the list when I'm stressed. You'll start to just stop it. You're getting gas, and you're like, oh, I'll just get a chocolate bar. And then you just start loading
get a
up
Snickers,
on those.
Which turns into a king-size Snickers, so you really get 2.
Or the Big Turks that are double Big Turks. So it's 2 back-to-back, and I'm like, that adds up pretty quick.
Yeah.
But
it's funny, we went down a rabbit hole there, sorry. But it's like you watched me run on Saturday. So I went down to the trail, and I was like, I'm going to run this reasonably flat trail down by the river. And so where the Trans-Canada Trail ends, I'm going to run into town and I'm going to go back. And I knew it was 9 miles because that's what I'd done before. And I was like, I'll do that twice. That'll get me almost what I need today for mileage. Well, while I was doing it once, I must have gotten dusted by I don't know, 10 marathoners who were out training the Fredericton Marathon, on the trails or whatever, training for something. And these people were they were pretty fit, and they just absolutely dusted me. And it made me feel so slow. And then I'd look at my watch, and I was like, all I could think about the whole run was the fact that I got 9 miles in 2 hours, which isn't great. And that I used to run, 13.1 miles in that time frame. In 2020 or just before 2020, I was running a sub 2 hour half marathon. I think my fastest time was 1:54. And it's so I would have had another 4 miles to run in the same amount of time that I just ran 9 miles.
Listen,
what
I
happened
understand
to my
that.
life?
Yeah,
right? What
totally
happened to my life? And it ruined my whole day.
Yeah.
I was so dejected afterwards. But you put those ridiculous expectations on. Life's different now. I have more stress in my life, I have more kids, and I've been doing a different style of running. I haven't been focusing on speed, right? I've been focusing on trying to see how long and how far I can go in a different atmosphere. So I've lost some speed, fine, but it's just funny how we do that.
There's that saying, right? Comparison is the thief of joy, and I think that's another huge way that we can find ourselves discouraged is by comparing ourselves with our previous selves and also with others around us, and it was I remember the very first time when I went trail running, and you and I showed up at Bootstrap, and we're like, look at all these people wearing spandex, and everyone's wearing all this. I was like, this is not our scene right now. Where is all the Clydesdales? And but it was soon really just apparent that for me, that's been an issue for me my whole life, is just comparing myself with others and trying to match up with others and never matching up, and of course feeling dejected because of that. And so it's trying to just focus on where you're at right now. And so that's a huge reason too, I think, where we just start comparing ourselves, and maybe there's some insecurity rooted underneath of that, probably just trying to feel like you belong. And so I think there's some really big reasons why we get discouraged, and a lot of them are just based in fear, or they're based in rejection, or fear of rejection, or comparison. And so I think it's just important for us to acknowledge those things. There's, right? You and I will get disappointed when we go through tough runs. That's just a part of it. That's just human. That's what it means to be human. But then there's how you handle it. Now, Geoff, you just kind of alluded to some of the ways that you handle it.
You shouldn't handle it.
That's right, how you shouldn't handle it. Mm-hmm. And I've got my own, which are just as bad. And for I think for both of us, it's just eating our feelings. That's one of the ways that we just
It's true.
just give me all the carbs, give me all the crackers. I'll take I'm on this big Cheese Whiz binge right now. My wife got a big bottle of Cheese Whiz, and I am just
last you a day and a half anyway.
Oh my goodness! But the thing is, if you put half a bottle of Cheese Whiz out on the porch, it'll be a full bottle of Cheese Whiz by the end of the day. It just keeps growing. And so just toast and Cheese Whiz, that is just my go-to for everything right now. I'm just
you need to get your wife to make yourself a loaf of homemade brown bread. Put that in the toaster with some Cheese Whiz.
Oh my goodness! Right?
Yeah.
It can't get any better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why you need to go talk to someone else when you have these problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not me.
Eat more. That's your advice. Eat more Cheese Whiz.
Eat more feelings. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's just something about that nice Cheese Whiz in the morning or as a late night snack that you can get. And I just love how that feels. But it's just so bad. I know I'm just trying to get over the stress of the day or the fact that my kids are fighting or whatever. You know what I mean? That's tricky. Any other ways that you deal with your disappointment other than eating it?
Other than eating it? No, I mean, that's a big one.
It's huge. I mean, that's
for sure
the story of our lives.
I feel often I just stew on it. I just sit there and then it, like I said, ruins my whole day. Most of Saturday, I was pretty cranky with my entire family, and I even came home and ran another 5 miles on the treadmill because I was no, I'm not going to end this. I'm not going to end this run on 9 miles outside when I was supposed to be doing whatever, which I don't know that was any more helpful because it just made me more tired and less. I didn't have enough calories in me probably because I was angry, wasn't paying attention. And then, it was just kind of cranky the rest of the day because I overdid it. And then my
Were you hate running? Were you hate running? Every absolutely. Step you're I hate this, I hate this, I hate this.
Yeah, and I was trying to fix it. I was listening to angry music, which I don't think is helpful either when you're in that mindset. And so I actually switched it to our podcast with Liz and Rachel because I was I didn't listen to that because I wasn't actually on it, so I should listen to the podcast. And so, and they had all kinds of great things to say, and it helped a little bit mentally while I was out running, not to be listening to hate music while I was also feeling sorry for myself. But
right.
So there's a tip for those of you out there who are hate running. Maybe change your music to something more positive if you're like me and you have angry music playing while you run. But yeah, it was one of those things. But what I found was helpful. After I came to my senses a little bit, Adam, of course, texted and asked me how my run went, and so I started whining, and so he reminded me pretty quickly that the world isn't ending, Geoff. You're just
right.
You had a crappy run, and it's not a big deal. Let's focus on what we can change about that versus what it was, right? So
yeah,
or what's different now than what made you feel that way, right? So
yeah.
Anyway, it's good that way.
Do one of the other things I do though when I'm trying to deal with discouragement a little bit is I end up spending way more time on screens, just trying to numb out. So whether that's I'm not a gamer. But I know some people would be who listen. But for me, it's just flicking through the doom scrolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you get our algorithms, which are all about people doing all these crazy runs and different race teams and stuff like that. And you're just what? Holy! Everyone seems to be doing an amazing job. And of course, it's only presents one side of the picture, right? And you're just oh crap, you just feel like garbage because you're filling in all. It's just reinforcing a lot of that negative talk that you've got going on, and so, but I just can't seem to stop it. You just seem to be keep trying to find something that'll give you that dopamine hit or whatever.
You ever get in that mood where you have 3 screens running at a time because you just can't the reels, the doom scrolling's not doing it, so you got the TV on over here.
Yeah,
and you're watching a hockey game or a baseball game or something in the background, and that's not working, so you switch it to some sitcom that's supposed to make you laugh, and that's not working, so you leave that on, and you got your doom scrolling going, and then you turn on Warzone and you play that with your buddies too, and you got 3 screens going, and you're just what kind of week have I had?
Right.
And really, our week wasn't that bad when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of worse things out there.
Yeah, the dual screens is definitely an indicator that something's not not quite right,
Right.
you know.
It could be worse though, Brandon. We could be going for alcohol, you know?
I guess, yeah. I guess you're right. Yeah, drugs and alcohol,
Yeah.
I guess that could be the answer. But
our drug is sugar and food instead, but it's
that's right.
you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think about whether I'd be as overweight if I was into drugs and alcohol as I would be if I didn't eat food. But
There's only one way to find out, and I wouldn't recommend it.
I know.
Not to make light.
I'm sure the trade-off is not worth it. I'm sure the trade-off
Right.
is not worth it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll stick away.
We
from that.
shouldn't be joking about something.
No, that's right. I mean, a lot of people
little bit,
really struggle with it, so that's probably out
Yeah.
of place for me to joke about it. But
Yeah,
it does cross my mind every once in a while.
that's true. It probably depends on the drug, right? Like, I don't
Yeah,
think
sure.
weed would be good for me. I hear it makes you munchy, so I feel like that's
That's
too bad
right.
for me. I don't know, but anything that makes me want to eat more is probably not good for my
Yeah.
current problems.
I don't know what drug speed is, but that's the one I'm going for. Like if it's got speed in the name, like that's probably what I'd be chasing because it sounds like it would do me some good. But
This is a very off-topic
Okay.
story, but it's kind of related in some ways. Have you? So I guess that's caffeine in some ways for us. But
Yeah.
So I reduced my caffeine and I went off the energy drinks like cold turkey after meeting with my doctor there a while back. But I knew I was going to have a super late night because I went to PEI when you were interviewing Rachel and Liz.
right.
Played golf that day and came home late that night. So I had a Reign energy drink at like 5:30 in the afternoon. Or no, it was earlier than that maybe. But anyway, I remember driving in my car thinking to myself, like, oh my, what is this feeling? I feel so good. Like, this is amazing. I have so much clarity. Like, I just felt like this. And I was like, what? Why do I feel something? It must be because I'm going golfing with my friends. Like, I'm sure that was part of it. But it was like, and then I realized, like, I was halfway through an energy drink. And I was like, oh my dear Lord, if vitamin B6 and taurine can make me feel like this, it's a good thing I've never tried cocaine. Because I feel like it would be bad, right?
Yeah.
Like, anyway, we were just talking about, bad things to do. I feel like one of them is getting all hopped up on caffeine and then working out, which I used to do a lot, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like some of my problems now is partially because I don't do that anymore, and I get tired faster. Right? But I think that's better to get hopefully move in the right direction. But you wait halfway through Looney Loops when I hit that 18th loop.
Yeah.
Need some more. I'm gonna pop.
It's gonna be turning on the jet boosters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So speaking of reducing caffeine, one of the things I've been doing too is I have been delaying my caffeine intake. So based on like some
What's that
advice
like
from
for
one
your
of my,
family?
from my coach, honestly, like I can make it through the morning without much difference. Like I feel like I'm
Really?
attentive enough that I can just get through it. But like, so my first cup of coffee isn't until lunchtime. So I have it at lunch, and then it kind of is supposed to help carry you through that doldrums of the afternoon, right? So like when your brain starts getting tired, it's supposed to kick in and help you do that. But I am positive now that I have some form of ADD because like caffeine just allows me to lock in and focus in a way that I just can't like imagine. Like it doesn't make me like hype, like it doesn't hype me up. It just allows me to focus. And so like my work productivity is like off the charts right now because I'm just like going through the afternoons when I'm usually just like, trying to make it through.
Right.
I'm now like, let's keep going. But that moment that you have when you're like, I feel so much clarity. I feel so good. Like I had that at like 12:30. Like it's just like, it's like a whole new day. Like the sun is out. I'm ready to go, which is a sign of ADD. And so
Right.
I think I think you and I might have some similarities there. Maybe.
I think what we need to do for next episode, tomorrow at 12 o'clock, you need to leave your office and literally walk 2 doors down to the Irving and get a Reign energy drink
Yeah.
and have that instead of your coffee.
Okay.
And just
See what happens.
See what happens. Just I want to understand the euphoria that ensues your brain after going that long and then getting your hit with something that's that's way better than coffee. So
anyway,
the dreamsicle or the cherry limeade, very good.
Well, I haven't had cherry limeade yet. I've had all the other
one.
flavors. That's a new one.
A good one.
Yeah. I like the dreamsicle one. That's
already.
pretty good. All right. Let's move on. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know where we are. Do we have a outline today?
Yeah, we haven't. We've just covered the things that you shouldn't do, right?
Okay.
So we've highlighted the things that you should not do. We've talked about how we all struggle with disappointment. It's a part of running. It's a part of what we experience. But there are things that you shouldn't do when you handle it, and so we all have our coping mechanisms. But maybe there's some things that are actually helpful. Things that you might be able to do that would be a little bit more helpful than eating or scrolling on Instagram. Unless you're choosing to follow Chasing Trails, then that's a perfectly acceptable method of doom scrolling. Just scroll through our feed and reels and stuff. But maybe there are some things that might be helpful. And like you and I were talking before the show, and we're like, what are some of those things? Like, it's not as easy to come up with some of those positive things. And we're not experts by any stretch of the imagination. You and I are all just trying to figure this out ourselves. But one of the things that I found was super helpful, especially when I'm struggling with just even my training, is getting an outside opinion about what's going on. Like, cause you're too close to it. Like, we're living it, like, and we're just right in it. We can't see we can't see it accurately. And having someone outside just look at what we've done and just say, hey, listen, just be consistent. Or just stick to it. Those happen. Like, that is just like shining a light on your disappointment and just saying, hey, listen, let's just bounce back and we'll get to the next one. It happens. I don't know if you've ever had that, like, but I had, I think it was Adam who said to me, he's like, hey, just be consistent. Like, try and be consistent. And I thought that was so helpful for me. I was like, yeah, that's really good advice. We should just be consistent.
And be careful of who you pick, right? Like, if you pick someone who's just going to tell you what you want to hear,
right,
then I don't feel like that's super helpful. Like, I feel like my wife is guilty of that. She's always wanting to be super encouraging because she doesn't want me to get angry and quit and or, find other things to sit down and doom scroll or pour a glass of whiskey or like all the other bad things that I do when I'm disappointed in myself. But then a lot of times she's really just telling me what I want to hear, and she's not a runner, but realistically, you got to find another source that's, willing to be a little bit brutally honest with you in some ways. If it's going to be helpful sometimes.
Yeah. Someone who's going to be honest,
Yeah.
Honest doesn't mean being unkind. Like, it means just calling things out. Like, hey, what's going on here? I've noticed this. Is there something that we need to talk about? Or is there why do you skip every Thursday's run instead of like doing it? Like, what is the deal with that? And so that's really helpful. And it's good to have people like that in your life. But you're right. You have to be super careful who you pick.
I think that's where like Rachel and Liz talk about why it's important to have a coach, right? That, takes that work away from you planning your schedule, and we'll actually notice a pattern of, hey, you always skip Thursday's run. Why? What are you doing Wednesday night? Like, what is it about Wednesday night that stops you from running on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
And so another good thing you could do is find a coach, right?
Yeah, that's excellent. And even just like, I remember you talking about how you were struggling on the weekend, and I was just like, hey, do you remember, like, could you imagine like 2 years ago, like when you're like, I only ran 10 miles, and we were like, that would be just something that would be so difficult. And so I think like revisiting where you've come from and what you kind of accomplished already could really help with discouragement, because you just see that there has been progress, and you were, it was a struggle 10 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever to do 10K. And then now here you are running, ultra marathons. And so just like, it's just having that revisiting can kind of help just get rid of the discouragement as well.
Right. Right. Or remembering like you trained all year to run that sub 2 hour half marathon.
Right.
And yes, you ran a half marathon randomly on a Saturday morning after running all week and not tapering. And so putting it into context of reality is different than in the moment, right? Linking it back to my earlier complaints, that's sort of how I got over it this week. Was like, oh yeah, I did train all year to do that in, from March until October. to get that 1:54. So probably I could do it again if I trained all year and get some of that speed back, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
And like, I think there's this activity called challenging your assumptions. And one of my daughters has, some struggles with anxiety. And so that's one of the things she teaches us in our house is like, hey, listen, there are scenarios that we play out in our head that aren't true, but we think they're real, or we think what the outcome might be. Or we'll say, oh, I'm so slow. I'm never going to be fast again, or I'm never going to be the runner I once was. And so you challenge that assumption and you're just like, well, what's reality? Like, what's really going on? And you're just like, well, maybe what happens if you aren't ever the runner that you were before? What does that mean? Is that the end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world. You'll be a different kind of runner. And so I think that helps with just making sure you're like realistically looking at whatever you're going through and kind of helps deal with disappointment too. And so I think those are some of the ways that we can just be honest and kind. Like, you and I are not gracious with ourselves, are we?
Right.
Like, we're usually pretty hard on ourselves.
The other thing I'm going to start working on, and I won't take credit for this, I'm working through Kelsey Hogan's coaching series that she did.
Right.
One of the videos I watched recently, I haven't made it through all of them because I just haven't had time to get through them. But one of the videos was on setting goals and expectations and writing them down and how to do that well. And one of the big things I noticed, and when I noticed it, I've seen other people talk about it, but it was helpful in the moment to even with big races and with even with big runs on a Saturday, like, it's helpful to set more than one goal when you're trying to do something that's big, right? So if you're going for a big run at Looney Loops, set an A goal and a B goal and a C goal, so that if your A goal blows up, there's still something to accomplish, right? And if your B goal blows up, well, there's still something to accomplish, and make sure that one of those goals, is accomplishable. And it just changes your perspective on the day that, I already decided I had these 3 goals, and one of them I was going to accomplish, and one of them I did. And it'll just change the way that you go about that day, because it doesn't always become a perfect day, and your Saturday long run isn't always going to be a perfect day, and you might have a disappointing race for whatever reason. But if you have more than one goal, it gives you motivation to stay out there and be out there and continue on. So anyway, I don't know how many other people are doing who followed through the live sessions with Kelsey, and I can't remember the other coach's name, sorry, but they're still available, I'm sure, if you touch base with Kelsey. And I've found they've been really good. The 2 that I've watched, there's 6, I think, so I'm working through them. They're like an hour each, but there's like, when I click on them, it's a YouTube channel that's private that she's sent us a private link to via email, and it just lets me on to watch the recording because I missed them. I wasn't available the nights she did the live ones, but anyway, the ones that I've watched thus far are A1, and I think you can take a lot from them in a perspective of learning how to set proper goals and other things, preparing for endurance runs. So if you didn't have a chance to do the live session and you didn't know that you could still watch them, not live, touch base with Kelsey, and I'm sure she can help you figure that out, how to watch them on that private channel. So anyway, a little plug for Kelsey and the good stuff she's doing. So.
Yeah. She's getting ready to go to UTMB pretty soon here.
Yeah, man.
Coming right up.
It's going to be something, eh?
That's awesome. Anyway, so maybe if you're listening to this, guys, most of you, this isn't new. This isn't anything that you haven't thought of before. There's probably books that are written that are way better than what we're talking about. But it's just a gentle reminder. That's for sure. It's just a gentle reminder to you. Maybe even as you're running right now, as you're listening to this, like, just try one small thing. The next time you face a disappointing run or a disappointing outcome, just try one of those helpful things, and maybe it'll reframe just how you view that run, and you won't linger on the disappointment quite so long. You feel the feels, and then you kind of move on to the next thing. And so we hope that's helpful. And we hope that
if you identify with any of the bad things we were talking about, don't do them anymore.
Don't do those. Yeah.
Don't do
One thing that we didn't mention though was one of the bad things I think too is just the self-deprecating talk, like just putting yourself down all the time. You and I both do that, and we've been trying to work on that, and hopefully we're getting better at it. But that is also, don't do the, like, just try and, I'm not saying blow smoke up your butt all the time, but like just like don't say you suck or all the time like we do. So try and move on for that. Anyways, Geoff, I think that's it for today. Anything else that you want to throw out there before we wrap it up?
No, I mean, I think we were random enough in that one.
Yeah, that's right.
If you made it to this point of this episode, thank you.
Thank you. If you made it through the Cheese Whiz, sidetrack, good for you.
Oh, I miss Cheese Whiz in my diet, man. I really do. I know, do. Geoff. They need to make a lactose-free Cheese Whiz. Like, we need to start advocating for that.
I'll enjoy a piece of Cheese Whiz toast for you tonight. I'll enjoy one on your behalf.
Please do.
And anyway, everyone, whether you have a great run or whether you've had a crappy run, whether you're feeling on top of the world or whether you feel disappointed, we hope that you'll keep on chasing the trails.
1